authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation.
It's a lot going on, y'all. It's a lot going on surrounding Shannon Sharpe. As we know, Shannon Sharpe has been under a lot of scrutiny. He's under a lawsuit with a named victim. He has brought forth her name, Gabrielle Zuniga. Okay. So as we talked earlier on Shannon Sharpe, in case you guys were under a rock, we're going to go ahead and show our first encounter of what occurred with Shannon Sharpe. Okay. So I should have just pulled it up. I think I downloaded the video. Let me see, y'all. Give me a minute to bring up the video. We're going to watch it so we can get back familiar with exactly what all is going on. Okay. Let me go ahead and share my screen here with you all. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday afternoon. Mine is going okay. One of those days. However, the show must go on. Thank you all for supporting. Gotten a couple new subscribers. Welcome to the Tea Sippers, where we drop those teacups in the chat. Okay. So I did a live on Shannon Sharpe under fire for alleged sex abuse charges. And we're going to play it just so that we can get updated on exactly what all is all in Shannon Sharpe's world. Okay. So.
Welcome.
Today we got to sip tea from Shannon Sharpe's cup, y'all. Shannon Sharpe is in a controversial lawsuit right now, and it is really crazy and wild right now. Like, everybody's speculating, opinionated, and talking tea on Mr. Shannon Sharpe. So let's get into it, y'all. Let's sip this tea. Hall of Fame tight end Shannon Sharpe is being sued for $50 million for alleged sexual assault and battery, y'all. Sharpe denies those allegations, claiming that the lawsuit is a shakedown orchestrated by the accuser and her attorney, Tony Busby. Now, we heard that name before. Tony Busby is the lawyer that was representing the Diddy claimants that were saying that, you know, he did things to them. And then he jumped on Jay-Z and attempted to sue Jay-Z with the Jane Doe that, you know, came back, was debunked. That, you know, that never happened. So we covered all that, y'all. Double back, go sip that tea. It's on the platform. However, The accuser is identified as a Jane Doe in this case with Shannon Sharpe, being represented by Tony Busby, right? The Jane Doe alleges Sharpe was violent, threatened her, and recorded their sexual encounters without consent. This is not good. Pro Football Hall of Famer and media personality Shannon Sharpe is facing a $50 million civil lawsuit, $50 million accused of the sexual assault and battery. The woman is using an alias Jane Doe in a lawsuit that they filed previous on Sunday, which was Easter? They filed it on Easter in Clark County, Nevada, and alleged that Sharpe engaged in the intentional infliction of emotional distress and that he assaulted her twice in October and in January of 2024 and 25. So the woman says that Sharpe became violent over the course of their relationship, threatened to kill her during one incident, and recorded their intimate encounters without her consent, y'all. I listened to another podcaster read the lawsuit, y'all. It is wild. Maybe we will get into that. We're going to sip a little bit of this tea. Y'all drop me some teacups in the comments. Tell me what y'all think, okay? Sharpe flew into fits of anger, alleges the Jane Doe, when plaintiff noted that he cheated on her and called him out about his extraneous activities. The lawsuit said what had once been manipulation control.
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at, and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. It is what it is.
What? What does that even mean?
Nothing yet. You want to be a dick to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna choke the shit out of you when I see you. Thank you.
Okay, I don't.
You know what?
Well, I don't want to be true.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
Now became something far more dangerous and sinister. Sharpe even figured out how to get into her apartment without her permission. Well, I mean, that's Shannon Sharpe. Like, you can basically pretty much get into anything. So y'all know Shannon Sharpe from the Club Shay Shay Ride over on YouTube. He grows one of the highest shows on YouTube when he did the interview with Katt Williams. So Shannon Sharpe is riding a really big wave right now. I'm hearing through the grapevines that he is looking to receive a $100 million contract. He works for ESPN. He's a sports contractor, whatever. He talks sports, y'all. And he does his YouTube thing. Like, he's one of the highest paid YouTubers, period. So that's Shannon Sharpe, y'all. Big black ball guy that used to play professional football. Okay. So, Sharpe's 56 years old, denied the essay allegations, and also the girl's 19 years old, y'all. She's 19 years old. In a video published she was 19 when they met. I think she might be 20, 21 now, something like that. Yeah, because they were supposed to be on and off dating for 2 years, so I think she's around 20, 21 currently. Wrote as a video published on social media saying that the lawsuit was essentially a shakedown by Shannon Sharpe, and that the victim is, blatantly setting him back.
Everybody always talk about date your age. Well, I want to date my wage. I'm finna shut all this ish down tonight. I want to date my wage.
Stay right there.
Where y'all at? Hey, chat, where they at?
Hold on. Cause I keep it on me now.
Yeah.
I keep it on me. You want to date your what?
I want to date my wage, not my age. I want to date my wage. So where are they? Cause y'all always talking about date your age. I want to date my wage. So come on with it.
Well, you talking?
As a matter of fact, I'm taking applicants as we speak.
Well, you talking spicy tonight, boy.
So the woman said that she met Shannon Sharpe, the popular YouTuber, in 2023 at a Los Angeles gym when she was 19. According to this lawsuit, Sharpe's attorney, Lanny J. Davis said that the lawsuit was filed with lies, distortion, and misrepresentations, and it will not succeed. Lenny J. Davis is Shannon Sharp's attorney.
Tea talkers, we are back to sip some more of Shannon Sharp's tea. Shannon Sharp, as we have already discussed in this live, where he has now been accused of all of these SCX allegations. Now it appears that the former NFL star Shannon Sharp said Thursday that he is stepping away temporarily from ESPN, and while he deals with what he calls false allegations in a $50 million civil lawsuit filed against him by a woman who alleges that he aped and threatened her life. Said in a statement that he would return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason, which is set for July 31st. I also needed to backtrack on what I said about her age. Apparently, that is false news. Well, if it's false news, USA Today did put that out as false news. So I'm going to bring that back and retract that. She was not 19. Apparently, the girl was 20 years old, and they had a nearly 2-year relationship followed, according to court documents. Now, Sharp is 56 years old. He's accused of aping the woman in October 2024 and again in January, as we said earlier. The lawsuit also accuses Sharp of using physical force on her and inflicting emotional distress. Y'all, the tea is really piping hot on Shannon Sharp, so I had to add a little bit more to this video. Okay. Sharp was a 4-time All-Pro tight end who played on 2 Super Bowl winning teams with Denver and 1 with Baltimore. Over 14 seasons he spanned from 1990 to 2003. He was voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011. He did retire as the NFL's all-time leader among tight ends in receptions and blah, blah, blah. All of the football records, they have since been broken. Okay. Sharp has been a staple on TV and social media since retiring. All right. He has a show called Undisputed that he joined on ESPN. We also see Sharp on YouTube with Ocho Cinco and on Club Shay Shay. We've watched Shannon Sharp's live, his lawyer's live with his attorney. And his attorney says that this is the character that comes out of a OnlyFans sex worker. Apparently, the alleged victim is a OnlyFans sex worker. Okay, and that this is just her typical natural character, her natural element of environment of how she makes her money. So basically, what they're saying is that she is attempting to trap and blackmail Shannon Sharp into paying her. Bye. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Drop your teacups. Let me know what you think. All matters surrounding Shannon Sharp. There's been a lot of people that have apparently tried to warn Shannon Sharp about his dealings with younger folk in areas of intimacy and things like that, like Monique the comedian, and other people have, attempted to tell him how things may or may not play out for Shannon. He, from what I saw on the interview on Club Shay Shay, he kind of giggled it away. And now he is not taking the matter so lightly as he's sitting in a lawsuit with a young woman, 3 times younger than he in her 20s. He's in his damn near 60s. So that's how the ball's being thrown right now for Shannon Sharp. Remember to like and subscribe to Tanisha Talks Teas.
Okay, so now that we're up to date, once again, on Shannon Sharp, we're updating our tea. So we're going to get into what people are saying, like his fellow colleagues of the entertainment world, sports world, things like that.
on Shannon Sharpe. Okay.
Gil, I mean, I remember walking out and CJ, the producer of the show, he's like, Shannon, this is gonna blow up the internet. I said, but it just took off.
Yeah.
And everybody they were just shaking their head. I was like, what? They're like, Shannon, this is gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
The unraveling of Shannon Sharpe's once untouchable public image has been nothing short of a media firestorm, and the details emerging are as disquieting as they are damning. It begins with a lawsuit so explosive it has shaken the very foundation of his career. A 50 million currency unit legal battle that accuses the former football legend and celebrated television personality of abhorrent behavior. The plaintiff, operating under the alias Jane Doe, alleges that what started as a consensual relationship descended into an abusive nightmare, replete with manipulation, threats, and acts of violence that she claims left her irreparably scarred.
Shannon Sharpe says he's temporarily stepping away from ESPN in the wake of a $50 million lawsuit accusing him of rape. A woman filed suit against Sharpe on Sunday, accusing him of raping her twice.
The accusations themselves are graphic and forceful. Jane Doe paints a harrowing picture of her time with Sharpe, alleging that he became overly controlling and volatile as their relationship progressed. According to her, Sharpe demanded complete dominion over her schedule and personal choices, expecting her presence at his home at a moment's notice, on his terms, and with no regard for her autonomy. But the most shocking claims revolve around alleged incidents of physical aggression, which Jane Doe says culminated in traumatic events that she could no longer endure in silence. Her suit accuses Sharpe of ignoring her pleas for him to stop, asserting that her protests were met with hostility and contempt. It's the kind of allegation that doesn't just tarnish a reputation, it annihilates it. And then came the leaked audio, a chilling piece of evidence that has only added fuel to this already raging fire. In the recording, Sharpe is allegedly heard making remarks about choking Jane Doe. His legal team has been quick to dismiss it as nothing more than an out-of-context snippet from what they claim was a consensual, role-playing scenario. But the public reaction has been far less forgiving. Social media, the great court of public opinion, erupted into a frenzy, with hashtags calling for accountability trending within hours of the audio's release. For many, this was the smoking gun, the irrefutable proof that lent credence to Jane Doe's allegations. And while Sharpe's camp has tried to reframe the narrative, claiming the leaked tape was used as leverage in an attempted blackmail scheme, the damage to his public image has been catastrophic.
And that the was about handcuffs, choking, putting on dog collars. Do you get those at Petco?
The fallout was swift. Sharpe, who had recently ascended to new heights in his broadcasting career with a high-profile gig on ESPN's First Take, announced his decision to step away from the network, albeit temporarily. His statement was carefully crafted, asserting his innocence while framing his leave as an opportunity to focus on his family and address what he referred to as false and disruptive allegations. And ESPN, for its part, expressed support for his decision to step back, but made it clear that the network considers the matter serious. Behind the scenes, industry whispers suggest that Sharpe's departure wasn't entirely voluntary, with insiders hinting at significant pressure from executives who were acutely aware of the potential fallout for their brand. But this isn't the first time Sharpe has found himself at the center of such allegations. The revelations have prompted a wave of scrutiny into his past, unearthing a troubling pattern that many now view as impossible to ignore. In 2010, Sharpe stepped away from his role on CBS's The NFL Today under eerily similar circumstances. At the time, he faced accusations from Michele Evans, a woman who had been romantically linked to him for nearly. Evans alleged that Sharpe had subjected her to acts of intimidation and aggression, claims that included an incident where she said he forced her into unwanted physical contact. A restraining order she initially filed was later dismissed. The allegations lingered in the background, casting a shadow over his otherwise gleaming career.
Are now beginning to bring up past things that have happened with Shannon Sharpe, including a temporary restraining order that was filed against him back in 2010 from a woman that he was dealing with at the time, who accused him of sexual assault. He said in different things. Now, this was dropped. It was dismissed, that restraining order.
And then there's the matter of the incident at FS1, where Sharpe was accused of choking a female production assistant during his tenure as co-host of Undisputed. While no formal lawsuit was filed in that case, sources with direct knowledge of the situation have claimed that the network reached a private settlement with the accuser for what was described as a significant amount. Sharp's representatives have downplayed the event, calling it a misunderstanding that arose from a playful interaction among colleagues. But the lack of transparency surrounding the settlement has only fueled speculation, with many questioning why such a large sum would be paid if the allegations were as benign as Sharp's team would have the public believe. As these past incidents resurface, they are being pieced together into a narrative that paints a far less flattering picture of Sharp than the one he has so carefully cultivated over the years. Public sentiment has begun to shift, with many now questioning whether his charisma and larger-than-life personality have served as a smokescreen for deeply problematic behavior. Even his staunchest supporters are finding it increasingly difficult to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the allegations now stacked against him.
Alrighty, y'all. So the Shannon Sharp ESPN, does he still keep his job conversation is beginning to, I was going to say beginning to happen, but it's been happening, but I think now it's beginning to get louder because of different things that Attorney Buffy has released, including the audios. So right now the conversation is, why is Shannon Sharp still able to beat
Stephen A. Smith, Sharp's colleague and friend, has publicly expressed his belief in Sharp's innocence, describing him as a man of integrity and character. But even Smith, a seasoned media veteran, seemed to tread carefully, acknowledging that his opinion is based solely on his personal experiences with Sharp and not on the facts of the case. It's a cautious endorsement that reflects the precarious position of those in Sharp's orbit, caught between their loyalty to a friend and the undeniable weight of the allegations. And then there's the industry itself, which has moved with surprising speed to distance itself from Sharp. His multi-year contract with ESPN, signed just months prior, is now under review, with insiders suggesting that any potential return to the network is contingent on the outcome of the ongoing legal battles. Meanwhile, his podcast empire, once a beacon of his post-football success, has been thrown into disarray. Sponsors have reportedly begun to pull their support, unwilling to be associated with the controversy. It's a domino effect that threatens to dismantle everything Sharp has built since leaving the gridiron. But the most damning blow may yet come from the court of law. Jane Doe's legal team, led by high-profile attorney Tony Busby, has framed the lawsuit as a fight for justice, promising to expose what they describe as a pattern of predatory behavior. Busby, known for his aggressive tactics and high-profile cases, has already released damning audio evidence and hinted at the possibility of additional revelations. For Sharp, the stakes couldn't be higher. A loss in court would not only devastate him financially, but also cement his fall from grace in the eyes of the public.
His attorney offered that up publicly.
To me, her turning it down shows that it's not a money grab.
No, it shows that it's a bigger shakedown.
As the legal proceedings unfold, the tension continues to build. Each new piece of evidence, each statement from Sharp's camp, and each reaction from the public adds another layer to an already complex and deeply unsettling story. And yet, for all the noise surrounding the allegations, one can't help but feel that there's more lurking beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. The past has come back to haunt Shannon Sharp, but the question remains, how much deeper does this go? But just when you thought it couldn't get messier, the narrative takes a sharp turn into territory so chaotic it feels almost surreal. Enter Katt Williams, the comedian whose name alone has become synonymous with controversy, unpredictability, and, apparently, a knack for blowing the lid off untouchable figures. Shannon Sharp's reputation had already been teetering on the edge, but his high-profile interview with Williams earlier in the year added an entirely new dimension to his public unraveling. It wasn't just an interview, it was a grenade, lobbed directly into the heart of Sharp's career, and the aftershocks are still being felt.
But a lot of the stuff he was saying, because I don't live in that world, people think because, oh, Shannon, you live in Hollywood, you must have heard, you must have been, no, bro.
The episode, which aired on Sharp's podcast, was supposed to be a lighthearted, entertaining conversation. Instead, it quickly descended into one of the most incendiary interviews of the decade. Williams didn't hold back. He went on a verbal rampage, calling out everyone from his fellow comedians to Hollywood executives, and even throwing thinly veiled jabs at Sharp himself. The internet exploded. Clips of the interview dominated timelines for weeks, and Sharp, who had intended to use the moment to solidify his growing media empire, found himself at the center of an entirely new storm. What many didn't know at the time was just how meticulously planned that interview had been on Williams' end. Sources close to the comedian suggest that he came armed with a mental dossier of grievances, not only against Hollywood elites, but against Sharp himself. Allegedly, Williams had been sitting on some of these bombshells for years, waiting for the right platform to detonate them. And Sharp, with his reputation for stirring the pot, provided the perfect stage. It wasn't just a podcast episode, it was a calculated ambush, and the fallout was exactly what Williams had envisioned. The question is, did Sharp see it coming? Or was he too blinded by the promise of a viral moment to realize he was walking straight into a trap?
You decide whether or not you believe him. Was it tough hearing some of the things that he was saying? Yes, because I have a personal relationship with Earthquake. I've had Steve Harvey on the show.
Williams, of course, has always been a master of weaponizing his words. He doesn't just criticize, he dismantles. And during the interview, he made it clear that he had no intention of playing nice. At one point, he dropped a cryptic comment about people who pretend to be squeaky clean on camera, but live a whole different story off it. While he didn't name names, the implication was clear enough for fans to connect the dots. Social media lit up with speculation that Williams was throwing indirect shots at Sharp himself, hinting at behaviors or incidents that hadn't yet come to light. Whether or not there was any truth to it, the damage was done. By the time the episode wrapped, Williams had cast enough doubt to create a permanent stain on Sharp's carefully curated image. And here's the kicker. Williams reportedly walked away from the interview, doubling down on his claims. In private conversations later leaked online, he boasted about how he had changed the game with that one appearance. Nobody's untouchable, he allegedly told a confidant, not even Shannon Sharp. It was a bold statement, but one that seemed to resonate with many of Williams' fans, who have long viewed him as an unfiltered truth-teller in an industry full of smoke and mirrors. For Sharp, however, those words must have felt like a dagger. He had invited Williams onto his platform to boost his own clout, only to find himself becoming the latest casualty in Williams' long-running war against Hollywood hypocrisy.
Clause, I'm taking him at his word because I wouldn't know that. Nobody's ever heard that before. I'm thinking that's truth because he's on.
What's particularly fascinating and damning is how this interview wasn't just a random detour in Sharp's career. No, it was emblematic of a larger pattern, a calculated willingness to court controversy no matter the cost. Sharp had already built a reputation for pushing the envelope, for leaning into provocative topics and guests to keep his name in the headlines. But this time, it seemed he had gone too far. Williams, ever the chaos agent, turned the tables, transforming what should have been a PR win for Sharp into an unmitigated disaster. And the fallout? It's been nothing short of catastrophic. Behind the scenes, industry insiders were reportedly furious. Executives who had championed Sharp's rise at ESPN were left scrambling to contain the fallout. Sponsors who had lined up to partner with Sharp's podcast and other ventures began to reconsider their associations. And Sharp himself? Sources close to the former athlete describe him as blindsided, unprepared for the backlash that followed. He had underestimated Williams, and in doing so, he had inadvertently opened Pandora's box.
We're in an interesting game.
We are.
Hey, 58 million views though.
Oh yeah. Almost 58 million views.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about Katt Williams, he doesn't just throw shade. He scorches everything in his path. In the interview, Williams made a point of referencing figures in Hollywood who, in his words, get away with everything because they've got friends in high places. The implication was clear. Sharp, with his carefully curated image and A-list connections, wasn't immune to the kind of scrutiny he had invited by putting Williams on his platform. It was a masterclass in passive-aggressive takedowns, and the internet ate it up. But this wasn't just about the interview itself. No, the real damage came from what followed. Williams, perhaps sensing an opportunity to capitalize on the chaos, began dropping cryptic hints in subsequent appearances, suggesting that there was more to Sharp's story than anyone realized. He teased receipts, alluded to behind-the-scenes behavior, and generally kept the public on edge, wondering what bombshell might drop next. It was a slow burn strategy, and it worked. By the time Sharp announced his temporary departure from ESPN, the narrative had spiraled completely out of his control. And then there was the money. Oh, the money. Let's not forget that the infamous Williams interview reportedly became one of the most lucrative episodes in podcast history. Sharp, who had already been raking in millions from his various media ventures, saw his earnings skyrocket in the wake of the episode's viral success. But here's the irony. The very thing that boosted his bank account may have also been the nail in his professional coffin, because while Sharp was busy counting his earnings, the court of public opinion was turning against him. Critics accused him of exploiting controversy for profit, of prioritizing clicks and views over integrity. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that assessment.
10 million in a day. and counting, still going up.
As the weeks turned into months, the narrative surrounding Sharp became increasingly toxic. More past incidents began to resurface, each one more damning than the last. And through it all, Williams remained a looming specter, popping up here and there to fan the flames. At one point, he even hinted at a follow-up interview, promising to reveal everything they don't want you to know. Whether or not that actually happens remains to be seen, but the mere suggestion was enough to keep the rumor mill churning. It's worth noting that Williams isn't exactly a neutral party in all of this. He has his own history of controversy, his own long list of feuds and scandals. But in this case, his unpredictability worked to his advantage. By positioning himself as a truth teller, a whistleblower of sorts, he managed to shift the focus away from his own baggage and squarely onto Sharp. It was a masterstroke of misdirection, and it left Sharp floundering. And then there's the question of what this all means for Sharp's future. Can he recover? Can he rebuild? Or has the damage been done? Industry insiders are divided. Some believe he'll find a way to claw his way back, citing his undeniable talent and charisma. Others are less optimistic, arguing that the combination of legal troubles, public backlash, and professional missteps may be too much to overcome. What's clear is that Sharp is at a crossroads, and the path he chooses next will determine whether he can salvage his career or if he'll become yet another cautionary tale in the world of celebrity culture.
Because I got Club Shay Shay,
Right,
and I've
right.
almost got 3 million subs.
Right.
And ever since that Cat Williams, a lot of mofos been treating your boy different.
What?
As for Williams, he seems to be thriving in the chaos. His career, which had been somewhat stagnant in recent years, has experienced a resurgence thanks to the fallout from the interview. He's reportedly working on new material, and there are rumors of a major new project in the works. In a strange way, the very scandal that has torpedoed Sharp's career has revitalized Williams's. It's a cruel irony, but one that feels almost poetic in its inevitability. So where does this leave us? With more questions than answers, as always. What other secrets are waiting to be uncovered? How far will Williams go in his quest to expose the truth? And perhaps most importantly, what will Sharp do next? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and stay tuned, because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that when it comes to Shannon Sharp and Katt Williams, the drama never stops. See you in the next one.
Okay, y'all, how people have started to pretty much, twist the Katt Williams interview that he did with Shannon Sharp, amongst what he talked about the celebrities that were a part of some type of Illuminati doings, goings on, Diddy stuff. And it really is starting to look like Shannon Sharp, is being taken into a moment like Diddy. Okay, so we're gonna read up on some more updates, listen to some more interviews, and keep sipping some Shannon Sharp tea updates. Hall of Fame titan Shannon Sharp is stepping away from his post at ESPN after being sued for alleged sexual assault and battery in Nevada. He announced it on Thursday. Okay, he says the relationship in question was 100% consensual, okay, between him and the alleged victim. Now, people are speculating that, his step away from ESPN is something of his own doing. I, on the other hand, have my own tea that I am sipping in that matter. I believe that Shannon Sharp was approached by ESPN and told that they were going to, look like they're going to just sit him down, and lay him off, however have you, from the position as a commentator on ESPN. And, like any job, if you get hit with something this salacious and it is, could potentially be a blow to the company's morale, their representation, their the words on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? That
he would, in sense, taint the company's stance on where they are, just, as a company. ESPN's a big sports company. Why is it running to my tongue and I can't say it? Y'all know what I mean. Okay. So it's just like, I think that's what happened. Any company would do that to you. Say you work at Amazon and you get charges, even civilly, in a court of law that are saying that you did the things that Shannon Sharpe is accused of being alleged to have done. They would lay you off and then essentially fire you if they don't fire you first. Okay. So I believe that that's the tea that, Shannon Sharpe sipped about his job at ESPN. Shannon Sharpe, a Pro Football Hall of Fame tight end and current ESPN host, said Thursday he would step away from his TV duties after a Nevada woman sued him for sexual assault and battery in Nevada civil court. At this juncture, I'm just selecting to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties, Sharpe said in a statement. I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason, okay? ESPN issued a following statement saying, this is a serious situation, and we agree with Shannon's decision to step away. Now, either way, we may not ever know who approached who. I believe ESPN did, because this is something that you do not want at the, front of your company representing you. Why can't I say the word? And reputation. I don't know why I can't say the word, y'all. Anyway, so like that is a big situation that, you don't want representing you, especially being a company like ESPN. So Sharpe worked at ESPN on First Take. He is accused of sexually assaulting a woman he met in the LA Health Club in 2023. So she filed under Jane Doe, says they had a rocky consensual relationship, is what Sharpe is saying. Okay, so let's get into some more, because we're definitely looking to get into reading the video. Okay. Excuse me. The lawsuit. This is, I think this is AI. That's got to be AI.
The Shannon Sharpe situation, one of the biggest stories for anyone who pays attention to the NFL, and for good reason. Hall of Fame tight end and a very popular and successful media personality. As the case continues to unfold, and he was sued for sexual assault and other claims over the weekend, he's been very clear. He denies everything. And his lawyer has come out and admitted that a $10 million offer, at least $10 million offer, was made to settle the case before it became public. Now we're getting to the point where it's having an impact on his current employment. Sharpe announced yesterday he'll be stepping aside from ESPN until the start of the NFL preseason. He currently, or at least was, appearing on First Take twice per week, Monday and Tuesday. That's over until the start of the NFL preseason, assuming ESPN even allows him to return. Because Deadline.com reported that ESPN was going to sideline him, and Deadline was about to report that. Boom, Sharpe pivots, and he voluntarily steps aside. There's a PR game to all of this, and I'm not trying to say that Sharpe walked before they made him run, but you could come to that conclusion if ESPN's getting ready to bench him, maybe beyond the start of the NFL preseason. None of this is surprising, though. It took on a different vibe when it was disclosed that he offered $10 million. And I know that his lawyer, Lanny Davis, strenuously objects to my characterization that it's very hard to reconcile a loud insistence of innocence with, I offered at least $10 million to settle the claim. But when you hear that kind of number, I think it raises the stakes for ESPN and anybody else that's going to do business with Shannon Sharpe. And then you throw on top of it, Front Office Sports reported on Thursday that there was an incident at Fox when he was working for FS1. Now, the report was that there was an alleged choking of a female coworker. Sharpe's representative said there was no choking. It was playful interaction, but there was reportedly a settlement. And it's unclear when that happened, but this is what occurs when the cat gets out of the bag. Media starts looking for other things. I see there's already some other report. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it yet, but there's going to be more. And you just wonder what kind of impact it's going to have. And I don't know that 20 million instead of 10 million would have settled the case and kept all this stuff from coming to light. I really don't know. But the fact that 10 million was put on the table, that still continues to be significant. I saw someone talking about the $10 million offer in analytical, objective terms, that this is what you do when you try to put a settlement value on a case. She wants 50 million. You've got a certain percentage chance you're going to win or lose. You've got a certain amount of legal fees. So you justify as a business proposition offering 10 million. I don't think that was it here. In a lot of cases, there are specific dollar figures that attach to the damages. If there's a car accident, the medical bills, the lost wages while you miss work, those are all clear, undeniable expenses that were incurred by the car accident. And that becomes part of the foundation for determining the settlement value of the case. For something like this, where there's no bill that was paid, no wages that were lost, no special damages, I know the complaint refers to 10 million in special damages, but it's just numbers that Tony Busby threw together. 10 million in general damages, 10 million in statutory fines, whatever those are, 10 million in special damages, 20 million in punitive damage. You can put any number you want. It's going to be what the jury ultimately gives you. So this isn't some careful mathematical exercise where, well, she wants 50 million and our percentage of prevailing at trial based upon the current trends for juries in Nevada, and it's going to cost whatever to defend the case. This is a pretty simple case. I don't know how much lawyers are charging now. I saw someone suggest it's going to be $8 million to defend them. Maybe I should say see you later and go back to practicing law. It's a pretty simple case. You got two main witnesses. It's not going to take a whole lot of time to prepare this case for trial. There's going to be a whole lot of pre-trial motion practice with long, lengthy documents and legal research. I'd say at the very most it's $500,000, and even then, that's putting the thumb on the scale a little bit, in my opinion. But if it's anywhere close to $8 million, you may never see me again. I'm going to do a little research over the weekend. Maybe it behooves me to go back to practicing law. And I don't mean to make light of the situation, but this is part of the overall analysis. I believe that disclosing the $10 million that was offered to the plaintiff before she filed the lawsuit was a tactical error. It was a PR blunder, because the average person, I don't believe, can say, I understand why you'd offer that kind of money to fight a blackmailer, and I understand why you would tell the world that you did it. That's the bigger flaw. It's one thing to do it. It's another thing to say, hey, I offered $10 million to this person who I think is blackmailing me over a completely false claim. I just don't think that's how a reasonable person or most reasonable people would handle that type of a predicament. So we'll continue to follow the case. We'll continue to update it here as warranted. And we hope you continue to check out everything we have at ProFootballTalk.com. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching.
All right, that was a live update. Thank you for the commentator. We are all using this under the copyright provisions under the Fair Rights Act of Use. Okay. So, girly. Let's see what other updates we have for Shannon Sharp, y'all. And just a mess, right? It looks like he's in a Diddy situation. Like, he's in a whole Diddy situation. Okay. We have the lead attorney talking on it. I wanted to hear, let me see, Shannon Sharp's legal attorney. Okay. Talk about it. Because, girl, he has some stuff to say about it. Okay, hold on, y'all. He talks about it with Don Lemon over on YouTube. So we're going to go over there and check out just an insert of that. Okay, let me see. Don Lemon. And Shannon Sharp's lawyer.
Just
Okay, so here we're gonna sip tea right now, guys, from Shannon Sharp's attorney. Now he has this attorney named Lenny Davis, I believe. He's an old guy that I hear used to like represent people like Bill Gates, Bill Clinton. When Bill Clinton was alleged to have the affair with Monica Lewinsky back in the day, like I think in the early 90s, Bill Clinton was called to have a salacious affair on his wife. With Monica Lewinsky. Monica Lewinsky wanted money. She wanted to extort Bill Clinton, right? So I think he also like represented like Bill Gates and things like what y'all know the oh god, like the names are not coming to my mind right now. But anyway, people that were like in the cases like the R. Kelly, but the white guys. I know who I'm talking about. I just can't. If y'all can think of what I'm talking about, drop it in the chat with your TCAPs, okay? Let's listen in on the Lemon Live exclusive he has it with Shannon Sharp's lawyer, okay?
A number of high-profile people, and I've worked with Lanny for years, at least, interviewing him, joining us.
Thank you, Don.
So, Lanny, what is going on here? Because we have, you know what has happened. She's accused him. I read that. You have this salacious text messages. You've got the phone calls, and we'll play some of that in a minute. But where are we? And then we have the breaking news that he is stepping aside from ESPN. So where are we? What is going on here?
Well, let me at least add to the words stepping aside and start with that, and then I'll answer your question, if you don't mind, Don. He's stepping aside. He's elected to step aside to take care of his family and to deal with this blackmail filled with lies by this individual who uses OnlyFans to make money and to act out in role playing. But the reason that's relevant is that we are going to counterclaim and file suit against her. She will be under oath, and we will show that what I'm saying is true. She's lying about anything other than consensual sex. There was never anything but consensual sex. The reason we sent out her own words, her own text messages, is that she often asked for rough sex. She, in a text message that we just recently put online, she said, "I want to be in a dog collar. Daddy, I want your black babies." She has been role playing on OnlyFans. She was role playing and asked for this with Mr. Shannon Sharpe. So we are going to prove this in court when we sue her in a counterclaim. But I'm saying on the record, she's lying. We have evidence of her lies from her own words and what she was asking for in the text messages, but we will prove affirmatively what Shannon Sharpe said on his Instagram account. He's innocent. There was never a moment of other than consensual sex. And this is about blackmail and a shakedown scheme.
Okay, so people are dialing in at every second, as you know, and streaming. That's what Shannon does. I'm sure you're very aware of it. So we have more people joining us. So I just want to say that we are joined by famed attorney Lanny Davis, who is attorney for Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe's attorney, you guys misspelled attorney. Shannon Sharpe's attorney, so you can take it down and put it up, speaks. Okay, so Lanny, the fact that she works for OnlyFans, is that somehow undermine her credibility? I mean, because folks would say they would call that, shaming of some sort. If you know,
no, I absolutely am not.
In the realm of her skirt was too short.
How she decides to earn a living, I'm not making any comment about her decision to use OnlyFans. That's her decision. I'm not criticizing that decision or judging her for that decision. The relevance is fantasy role playing. Is what, among other things, she does on this particular site, OnlyFans. The fantasy role-playing was the explicit sex messages or text messages that we posted that she asked for over and over again, including wearing a dog collar and engaging in non-traditional forms of sex. So it's consistent with my statement, which we will prove that she's a liar, that she engaged as the news of his success and future contract came to her attention. She took advantage to leverage the possibility of her getting paid, and she blackmailed him. And we are suing her, and we will prove that this was a scheme to blackmail involving secret taping, and we will prove that Mr. Sharpe is telling the truth, that he was never, ever involved in anything other than consensual sexual activity privately between two adults.
Okay, so let's some of these things that we have. I want to play this recorded phone call because this is the first thing that came out after she filed the suit. And then you and I will talk about it. This is a call between Gabby, right? She was Jane Doe. Now she has been identified as Gabby, but she has a different name on OnlyFans, correct?
Yes, Carly, I believe, but she has several aliases. One of them is Carly.
Yeah, and Shannon Sharpe references that in his response, that she's Carly on OnlyFans. Okay, so this is the first thing that came out. This is a recorded phone call. Take a listen, everybody.
Amazon is the biggest company in the world. And here's how you could get a cut of it. My name is Andreas Dale, and we've
To LA tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Gabby.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah. I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you did with the shit you did to me.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna pause that right there. Like, I hope you guys heard me. Oh my god, like I be having my mute button on. We are sipping Shannon Sharp's tea, right? Right now we're listening to Shannon Sharp's attorney with Don Lemon, very popular commentator. He's been all over like ABC, CNBC, NBC, all of that stuff. So he has his very popular YouTube channel, okay? The Don Lemon Show. Shout outs to Don Lemon. Okay, so we just heard Shannon Sharp, right? On a recorded voice call now. I don't believe his attorney debunked this being AI. I believe that they are letting this ride, that this is actually Shannon Sharp that is speaking with this 22-year-old girl. Okay. At the time, maybe 20, 21, whatever. So apparently, he has her under the impression that if she does not adhere to whatever Shannon Sharp wants her to do, she will be choked. Okay. Now, he states himself in this recorded phone call with Gabrielle Zuniga. We found out right now the OnlyFans model he met in the gym. Later turns out to find out she's an OnlyFans model, whatever. Okay. That he's a big black guy, you know, oh my God, big black guy strangling a little petite white woman in public. Like, is that going to turn Shannon Sharp on? But not even that part of it. That's a very important part that he said. It's the context of what he said. He's already knowing that what he said, and if it was to have been done, and people see Shannon Sharp choking any woman in public, let alone a little lily white woman in public, what the consequences would be. So it's like, okay, do you want to warrant that type of attention for yourself? You have it now, in a very major way. You've lost your job at ESPN and all of your endorsements right now, Drink, Champs, Kings, DraftKings, and all the others that, you know, I believe the podcast he was doing with Ocho Cinco, he's not even doing that no more right now. So it's like, what were you really hinting at when you said, oh, big black guy, like, did that turn you on? And if so, how demented are we, Shannon Sharp? You already know that if you're seen in public, you shouldn't be choking a woman to the point of death any fucking way. It happens, though. It happens even in the heat of the moment. It can happen. You can be choked to death during intercourse and be killed. All it takes is the slip of a finger, the tightness of the grip of your hands around someone's throat, and you can die from being choked. Okay? So, not for nothing. It's like, did you get a hard on when you said this? Like, what exactly were your motives behind you saying that you were going to choke her in public, and what the reaction of the public would be? Because this is the reaction of the public. Is now you're under intense fire scrutiny, you know, melee allegations, losing money behind these words and potential actions that you may have done. Let's keep listening. Listen to Shannon Sharp, attorney, speak on Don Lemon Show.
Okay, so put this into context for me, Lanny. What precipitated this, and what's the context of this particular phone call?
Thank you. The lawyer who represents this Ms. Zuniga is well known for putting things out of context and posting a secretly taped telephone call without posting a text message where she has a collar around her neck and she says, choke me, and without posting all the other examples of fantasy role-playing that she asked for.
I'm going to stop it right there. T-sippers. Now, everyone that understands the law of attraction and the law of fear of not being attracted to someone and in fear of someone hurting you, the context that I got, and I'm not on her side and I'm not on Shannon's side, I'm on the side of what actually happened, what can be proven.
from the context that I understood from what I heard from her and Shannon Sharp saying, she is in fear of Shannon Sharp strangling her outside of the understanding that it's going to be in an intimate way. That's what I got from listening to her and how she said it. She's like, well, I guess I am coming out tonight. I don't want to be choked to death. Like, I don't want to be choked. Like, if I don't come out and me and you, find our way in each other's paths and you choke the shit out of me, God, like, what the fuck? No, I don't want that to happen. That's the context. My sunflower seeds are trying to kill me. That's what I got out of it, y'all. Is, you see what I'm saying? It's a fear tactic that intimately she may like the choking of it all. She may like the strangulation of it all. She may like the whips and chains and chokers of it all. Intimately. But when you're not doing it in an intimate way, are you still supposed to like it? If you're angry with someone, you and someone are having an argument about something, and they start choking you, unless you are a psychopath, you're not going to be like, oh, I love that. Choke me till I vomit or shit on myself. Like, that's not what usually occurs between, human beings that use their frontal lobes to think with. I don't think that that's generally how that goes. Like, you're more than likely afraid for your life, scared you're going to die, begging for your life. Please unhands my neck. Oh my God.
Or involving choking and other forms of non-traditional sex is a deliberate part of the scheme to blackmail. She didn't tell Mr. Sharp that she was taping. She does secret taping. We have certain evidence that a tape that she's going to use as part of her blackmail attempt was heavily edited. And when we asked to see a copy of it to determine whether it was edited, she and her lawyer said no. Now, this out of context telephone call, you can hear her voice. Her voice is not somebody who is afraid of being choked. In fact, Mr. Shannon Sharp never, ever.
Not for nothing, Mr. Lenny Davis. She didn't have to sound scared. I don't have to sound like I'm scared to be scared if there's an element of danger around me. I don't have to sound like, oh my God, I'm so scared. If I say, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm still scared. Like, I mean, come on, make all the way total sense here. I'm still scared. Whether, if there's an element of danger around me and I say, oh, or I go, oh, I'm still scared of the danger that is around me. Okay? So whether or not her voice was trembling, she said, I don't want to be choked again. So I guess I'm coming to your whim because I don't want that to happen to me. I'm scared that if I don't come to your whim, I'm going to be choked.
Choked her. After this telephone conversation, they had many times of consensual sex. The apartment in Las Vegas, she followed him to Las Vegas when he moved there. The apartment had 3 or 4 different secure access points. She had to come down with her telephone to open the gates. She welcomed him into her apartment with all that security. And this whole telephone conversation is consistent with what we put online, which is the desire for fantasy role-playing, similar to what she does on OnlyFans.
Okay, so I'm going in order of as things happen. So that phone call came out, the lawsuit was filed, that phone call came out, and then you guys responded with releasing the text messages. Am I correct with that?
To provide context to this distorted drip by drip release of her secretly recorded telephone calls to try to suggest that Shannon Sharp ever did anything but consensual sex. All the text messages, all her activity after this alleged event that she's referring to were all consensual, and we will prove that.
Okay. So then, but his response came after you put out the text messages, right? His on-camera response. That was later, or which one came first?
No, well, he immediately, I think you're referring to his Instagram comment. I think that was a few days before we finally collected the text messages and posted them online.
I want to buy
All
your
right,
house.
as Mr. Don
I can
Lemon is
pay you.
paying bills. Thank you so much for sipping with me. We're updating everything on Shannon Sharpe today, okay? Updates today on Shannon Sharpe legal matter with the no longer Jane Doe. We know her to be Gabrielle Zuniga.
And let's listen to some of what he said. This is Shannon Sharpe's response.
Thank you.
My family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so.
I want to pause it right here. I will play this entire thing, y'all. Everything that's important I will play so that we have the complete full update of what we need to know about what's going on with Shannon Sharpe. You know, we sip tea. So this is some tea. Shannon Sharpe, y'all, he's a professional. At least he's supposed to be. I am a professional in my own right in the area of life that I live in, right? I'm not anywhere where somebody in any fucking moment is taping me that I don't need or want the entire world to know about. However I am in the moment that I don't care to have a camera on. Okay, so it's like, why isn't Shannon Sharpe at the level of professionalism that he should be at, somewhere ensuring that the OnlyFans model that he met at the gym, the 20-year-old, isn't somewhere taping him in any way, shape, form, or fashion? So that there's not any possible way that a fucking tape could be put out about him. In any way, shape, form, or fashion. I am so bewildered at the fact that Shannon Sharpe wants us to sit here with our common sense having asses and listen to him tell us. Now, there may be a video put out. Well, we know you just put out a video about you put a video out yourself a couple months ago. That was bothersome. I could have lived without hearing Shannon Sharpe have sex. I don't know about y'all, but I could have. Okay, so not for nothing. It's like, why does she even have any room to have a sex tape on you? Okay, yeah, we've all done our let's make a movie shit, like Chris Brown and Twista song. Most of us that was in our 20s, early 30s, maybe did some shit like that. Most of us that are in our area of life, like Shannon Sharpe, age-wise, I'm not his age, but I'm in my 40s. I have not even thought about making some type of a sex tape. Even with my husband of 11 years, I have not thought about making a sex tape with him. Like, I'm just not seeing exactly why Shannon Sharpe wants to make sex tapes with OnlyFans models and us not see it too. OnlyFans models make content for, you know what I'm saying, that particular reason, for that specific purpose, for others to see it too, to capitalize off of it. She just happened to bring it in the form of a legal lawsuit. Okay. Back to the conversation Don Lemon is having with Shannon Sharpe's attorney, Lanny Davis. Let's continue to listen in.
Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I wouldn't myself. You know what happened, and you're
Why
trying to
would you
manipulate.
yourself put out a sex tape? Nigga, you work at ESPN. You don't work at the dollar store. You work at ESPN, fool. Even your goddamn things you do outside of ESPN, all your sponsorships, that is not the light that they want to see you holding at. You sleeping with an OnlyFans model. You don't have no contract with Playboy. Like, nobody wants to see you fucking. Why do you think it's appropriate at your level and age of professionalism you should be at, that you yourself should put your own sex tape out? I can't.
The media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
It is unusual. I mean, this is a different day and age, Lanny. I mean, you and I are old enough to remember where you didn't, the lawyer either responded or it was no comment, but we're in a different age now. Why do you feel it was necessary? Why did Shannon feel it was necessary? And I'm sure he ran this by his representatives to get in front of this and get it on camera.
Well, I'm his lawyer, and he's been sued with vicious lies that are contained in the lawsuit filed by this Mr. Busby. And we're going to be suing her as a counterclaim, and we will prove she's lying. But then I said myself to Shannon Sharp, you need to talk to your family, your friends, your fans, everybody who watches ESPN, because you are telling the truth. The truth is on your side. And when
all of that is well, right? All that's well. I don't know how good it is, but all that sounds well. If Shannon Sharp would have protected himself as far as however he was allowing this girl to videotape him and phone record him, then none of this would have ever happened. You see what I'm saying? Now Shannon Sharp wants the public, for which he was not so discreet, because he was just on audio, with the sex tape he put out himself. Like, this is crazy that now Shannon Sharp again wants us to not believe that he is not somewhere doing things that he should not be, okay, let me rephrase that he should be keeping a better toehold on for his life, his livelihood, and everything that matters to him, his family, and everybody else. We understand things happen, just like the sex tape supposedly got leaked on Instagram a couple months ago. We understand that. But now there's this. Like, what do you mean, Shannon Sharp? We don't want to see a sex tape with you and this girl. We want to see you on ESPN, working, doing good, taking care of your family, meeting your needs, and living your life. What makes you think we want to see a sex tape of you? I don't. I ain't want to hear it when you put it on Instagram. So it's like, at the age where Shannon Sharp is, he should know better. He should know better. There's another point that I was gonna make, y'all. Let me read it. Let me get my door in. Y'all keep listening to this interview.
Say it yourself rather than me or somebody else saying it, you will be believed. And I ask everybody to find that. It's on formerly known as Twitter, X, and you can watch him. And I said to him, Shannon, the television and doesn't lie. I'm kind of an expert in that subject. You will come across as telling the truth because you are telling the truth. So I hope everybody watches that tape. The jury will be seeing Shannon test.
Here's my point. Even if Shannon Sharp has a good legal defense, I'm praying to God that Grandpa here, great grandpa, that defended Bill Gates and goddamn Bill Clinton back in the day. Okay. I hope to God that he is up to stand, for what needs to be stood for on behalf of Shannon Sharpe and his legal team. However, Shannon Sharpe can be found to be discreditable just for, if this girl does have a sex tape and it's put out for a jury or whoever, however, to see and hear, look at Shannon Sharpe and look at her. If they are having hardcore sex on this sex tape, you get one juror on that juror stand that looks like his attorney, an old wrinkled white woman or something like that, and they're not going to take that as consensual sex. They're going to look at that shit like he coerced her, however you say that, coerced her, he intimidated her, look at that big black man with all those muscles, and look at her, she's like 100 pounds soaking wet. Oh my gosh, she looks like, the little white girl next door. It takes one juror to believe that Shannon Sharpe is forcing this girl into this sexual act for it to be over for Shannon Sharpe. Over. And you already know by looking at Shannon Sharpe and looking at her, that is gravely potentially what it's going to look like for his ass.
Testify, and then when she's on the witness stand, which she must be because she filed the lawsuit, she will be asked to explain the text messages asking for fantasy role playing, asking to be choked, asking for a dog collar, asking for his quote black babies. This all a plan, taped, manipulated extortion blackmail scheme, and we will prove that in court when we sue her in a counterclaim and she's under oath.
Okay, so a couple of things. You said that you know that from experience. You want to explain to the audience why you know that? Because you've had some high-profile cases.
Hi, I'm Andy Levian, General Counsel at the DNC.
While that limit is paying bills, thank you so much for joining Tea Sippers. Let's drop those teacups in the chat, y'all. Don Lemon and the attorney for Shannon Sharpe are talking matters of his case. Updates on Tanisha Talks Teas.
Been a lawyer all my life as a litigator and in courtrooms, but then I began to realize in the age of social media and in politics that it was very important that if somebody is falsely accused, that the accused directly looks everybody in the eye and tells the truth and let the viewer decide. That's why I advised Shannon to go on camera, on Instagram, and tell the truth. People will know if you're lying, Shannon. Tell it exactly the way you feel it. That's my advice to people in this situation. If I believe
you were involved
that
in some, you were involved in some very high political folks too, as well. So
yes,
you know,
I have people in politics who are falsely accused, people in politics who do something wrong. My advice always is tell all your truth, tell it early, and tell it yourself. And that's the advice I've given politicians. That's the advice I gave to Shannon.
Okay, so let's go through some of these because you mentioned some of the text messages. Okay, so this is a screen. Let's put up the full one of some of the text messages here, and so there are a number of them, but I want to go through some of them. If you can just run through them, Andy.
Yes.
And so we have a couple of pages.
Y'all listen at these texts. I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're in me. Gabriella Zuniga in a text message to Shannon Sharpe. Where is his response, though? I'm pretty sure he responded. That was October 7th. I know you missed this big, juicy ass. $25,000 for each cheek. Gabriella Zuniga. Shannon Sharpe's response is not there. Y'all wowing. We're going to need Shannon Sharpe's responses up here.
Warn you, they're salacious. And because... you know, it says, but I cried when you left because I begged you to put on a condom on and not put it in my, you know what, backside, and you didn't listen. I don't care what our history is. No means no, Shannon. Now folks are saying that one is really damning. You want to talk to me about that one?
Yes, this is all her scheme and her plan. If she's not scheming and planning, why does she refuse to turn over the edited tape that will prove that she's schemed ahead of time, planned this, and then edited a tape to make it seem as if no means she is being taken against her will? The facts will come out when we see this tape, and he has said in the statement, this tape was edited. This whole conversation was fake. This was a blackmail scheme, a plan to squeeze money out of a man that she knew had been successful. And just at the moment of his success, she needs blackmail money. And that's what this was about. And we'll prove that in court.
Okay, so I mean, folks, I'm just telling you, folks are saying it's that one is very damning. I don't know how to process this. Keep going. Let's go through some of these, Andy. Can I call you later? So I'm just showing some of the evidence, and this is 1/2/25. I want to be abused, Dad.
Now this can go a lot of ways in court. I'm eating sunflower seeds. I'm kind of choking on them. Anywho, I want to be abused, Daddy, from Gabrielle Zuniga to apparently Shannon Sharp. Our text messages. I don't know where this is from. This could be perceived a lot of ways. This could be perceived as, her accepting abuse for whatever reason. Like I'm telling you, they can spin this type of shit in so many different ways. She was manipulated into wanting to believe that she should be abused. Okay. Whatever instances may have brought her to this point in her life where now she accepts abuse. Oh, victims. You see what I'm saying? Now they're at the point in their life where they accept abuse as a form of love or enduring affection. That's the only understanding that they really have to understand, what they think they have going on. They try to rationalize it, but they know they're being abused. So she used the word abuse. They can spin this shit in so many different ways. That's what I'm saying. As a professional person in your life, once you got somebody in your life that's talking to you like this and wanting all of these extracurricular things to go on, if you're down with the giddy down, y'all need to be protected. Why are you even accepting texts from this bitch? Why are you even accepting texts from her? If it ain't about what specifically needs to be going on in some type of fashion where that's only completely needing to be what's said. So that's the only thing that needs to be understood. What is all this extra shit? You can say this shit in front of her. Where there's, no other eyes. Everybody's looking at this today. Y'all are wilding.
Daddy. From her saying, and this sort of goes into what you were saying. I want like some hardcore BDSM action, though. Okay.
BDS is sadomasochism. She sent photographs that we of bondage and what she prefers. So the notion that she's now suddenly claiming after editing a tape and faking everything and saying no while she's asking for this, as you've just seen, are our evidence of lies and the scheme of a blackmail. And it doesn't make any sense that she came back and voluntarily wanted to see him more and had consensual sex even after her claim that she was coerced.
Okay. Yeah, because this one was later. That one was 1:30. Okay, and then there's, I guess that's a picture of her. I want you to tie me up like this and abuse me, Daddy. Okay, let's keep going through. And then I guess this one would be from Shannon agreeing when I'd be killing that young, kitty cat or whatever. And then I guess she was upset because of what happened with, I think, on Instagram when Shannon had the unfortunate situation of going live during, a personal act. Absolutely not. When you give me a formal apology for cheating on me on Instagram, I live and multiple other times, then we can talk about it. What's this one about?
So this is when we're in court. We'll be looking at a jury using its common sense, whether this.
And this is wild, okay? If Shannon is abusing you, raping you, and making you submit to him against your will, what type of relationship was y'all in? Like, did Shannon manipulate her mind to the point to where she thought she was in a relationship with her abuser? Act like that shit don't happen. We see that happen all the time. And unfortunately for Shannon Sharp, he is the big black man in the situation. He said it, he knew it himself, what that would look like for him, dealing with a lily white girl. 20s, weighing $100 soaking, 100 pounds soaking wet. There are plenty of examples of where abusers have made their victims feel like they're in relationships, especially when, like, you commit incest, you commit, crimes on a person that you can manipulate, like a babysitter would maybe do to you, or a person that wants you to deal with them while they're married. You believe you're in a relationship. All the while, you're just, somebody of moment because he's in a marriage. Okay? So this can be perceived in so many ways. It can be spun either way. The pendulum can fall any area depending on how people take this in court. And being that she's a young girl, they know younger people's minds are easily more manipulatable than a person of Shannon's age. None of that looks good for Shannon. I'm telling you, none of it does. Why is he even in this situation in the first place? Old and stupid.
Individual can be believed at all. This is a woman who is planned and schemed to set up Shannon Sharp. Her telephone call.
And then what do you expect? What do you expect from a young person? Okay, yeah, it's exciting, or it makes you feel young when you're with a young person. But these are the young people games you play. Young people play young games like this. Nobody of Shannon's age got time to be somewhere and let me blackmail Shannon. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody has time for that shit. They are in their own lives, in their own world, doing their own thing. When Shannon Sharp called, bitch, if she wanted to be on tonight, it'll be popping. If not, she'll call you later, boo, type shit. But Shannon don't want that. Shannon obviously wanted what he got, which was somebody he thought he was manipulating. She turned around and it seems like now she's manipulating him. Stupid shit.
Or set up. She didn't tell him she was taping him. This shows that her plan was executed just at the moment that he appeared to be most successful with his podcast. That's called blackmail. We are also showing that her text messages were asking for the very behavior that she then falsely and willfully falsely, called lying, said was not consensual. That's why these text messages are so important.
Let's go through a couple more here, and I just don't burn with all of them. Absolutely not. When you give me, okay, that one's the same one. A formal apology. That's the same one, Andy. Let's go to the formal apology. He says, she says formal apology, and then keep going. I've said sorry, Gabby, and I think the next one she says, but you haven't said I'm sorry for what, and you say I'm sorry, and you never say what you're sorry for, and you're going to make it right. Okay, wow, this got okay. Keep going.
She's a young girl scorned. In her mind, you'd have made this young girl think she is your woman. And you're on Instagram with Michelle. Oh, not Michelle. And what you say? Oh, that's my Michelle. That's my Michelle. That's her. While Gabriella thinks y'all in a relationship, she thinks you her man. So what? I mean, what do you expect a 20-year-old to do? 20-year-olds take everything to Instagram. She just happened to be fucking around with a big enough baller. She could take this shit to an attorney that could flip and turn this shit into a potential lawsuit, which is exactly what she did on your ass. Mm-hmm.
What's taking so long? Either you don't have the cash to show me right now, or you're with Michelle. Which one is it, Shannon? Now, what is that about?
Yes, I was about to say, may I interrupt, but you gave me the chance to comment. First of all, money. when she became transactional with Mr. Sharp, with Shannon, where she demanded money from him for sexual acts, no different than what she does on OnlyFans.
Well,
I'm
she
not
didn't
judging that.
demand money from Shannon. She told him. A demand is something like, you better pay me or you're not getting what you want. I demand that you pay me what I'm asking for. That's a demand. She told him, like, I want $25,000 per cheek. If you want to clap these cheeks together, it's going to cost you $50,000. She didn't demand shit from him. So far, I mean, other than that, I'm in a relationship with him, but he raped me and all this shit, and I kept going back. So far, she ain't looking too bad.
That's what she does. She asks for money for these role-playing fantasies. Number two, what is she angry about? She's not angry about forced sex or the R word. I hate to use it. I won't repeat it. Is what she's accusing him lying that the R word applied to consensual sex. She's jealous because he was with another woman and it was live streamed. He did
Mr.
that.
Davis,
and that's
if you
up
was
to
with
him
another
to-
woman, wouldn't your wife be jealous? Okay. If she believes Shannon Sharp is her man, what is he doing on Instagram with somebody else? As far-fetched as y'all may think that is a 20-year-old OnlyFans model, she thinks Shannon Sharp is her boyfriend. If he told her that's what the hell he was, then to her, that's what he was. Y'all may laugh at it, but she ain't, apparently.
To explain, but what the result was, she was angry, not at non-consensual sex. She was angry because she was a woman who was jealous, and lots of us have jealous feelings sometimes, and there's nothing unusual about that. But the motivation here is money, always money. He was paying her money for sex. She gets now the flavor that she can get a lot of money, and that's what blackmail is about. Paying that blackmail money isn't about admitting wrongdoing, by the way.
I've heard everything from this attorney so far, except the fact that he's not even holding Shannon Sharp accountable for his actions in leading up to him receiving a lawsuit from this girl. Shannon Sharp, okay, as his attorney, he should be telling Shannon Sharp, Shannon, why are you not protecting yourself better than this when you're dealing with people in intimate setting and intimate level? Why are you not protecting yourself better? Why does this girl have tapes and recordings of y'all? Someone that could potentially, whether you think so or not, could ever get a wild hair up her 21-year-old ass and sue your ass for any reason, for anything. Hold Shannon accountable. If he would have came out and said that, not so much like it's a shakedown, Busby. Like, so nigga, we know all of that. We know all of that. But we also looking at what you did. Why you ain't somewhere like, oh, please forgive me, Jesus. I was fucking up. God damn it, I fucked up. I'm sorry. God damn.
It's what blackmailers do in order to avoid embarrassment to your family and danger to your future. People pay blackmail money not because they did anything wrong. I've seen some reporting on that.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. Let me ask you about that. Hold on. Stand by. Let me just go through some of these and I'm going to ask you about that. Okay. I know you missed this big juicy. This is her ass. She says 25K per each cheek. Okay. Money again, as you say. And then he says 10K cash. I guess it was sort of joking around there. I don't know. Maybe it's real. And send a pic or I don't know. What does that say? FT me with it. Maybe it's FaceTime. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. Yes. Send a pic or maybe that's FaceTime me with it. So maybe she was asking for personal pictures of him, maybe his private parts. I have no idea. Okay. The next one is if you want to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. Okay.
This is, excuse me for interrupting you. This is Exhibit A, that she's a liar. She's a blackmailer. She set him up. It's a shakedown. This is
Okay.
Exhibit A. She
Okay.
wants a
I think it's
color
pretty
lantern.
self-explanatory. I mean, Lanny. Okay, keep going. The next one. Loved. I want you to put a dog collar around my neck, and so he loved it. And then keep going. And then I'm going to just read these for a little bit. But there are other ones that saying, I want you to put your if you scroll through them, Andy, or put the big one up. I want you to put. I think she said your black baby soup or something inside of me, and I want to have your big black baby, and all of those kinds of things that people are like, oh my gosh, what the hell is going? I want you to put your tongue in my you know what, and then marry you, blah 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 blah. Okay, so that's pretty salacious. Now,
could we use your house to trial our 24-hour bathroom?
Wow, Mr. Don Lemon's over there paying bills. Thank you so much for joining Nisha Talks Teas, y'all. Remember, over here, we're called the Sippers. Remember to drop your teacups in the chat. We are live this afternoon. Updates on Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe. Y'all, it's getting real sharp for him. He done sat down on a sharp pen. Oh, girl. He done stuck his ass out in it, girl. Oh, dang. I'm about to get fucked up around here. What do y'all think? Like, who do y'all believe will come out victorious in this matter? I'm waiting to see all that happens. We will definitely be updating on the trial or whatever they're going to have, set up in whatever. Thank you for sipping this tea on Shannon Sharpe. Let's listen.
Can I just jump in as a lawyer?
Yeah.
It is salacious and it's not exactly easy to read, but it's about lying. She's accused him of the R word, non-consensual forced sex, and yet her text messages convey exactly the opposite. She wants to be dominated. She uses sadomasochism expressions. She sends photographs that we have of bondage. Do you think a jury is going to believe this liar who wants money, demands money, and then in order to stay silent in the future, engages in blackmail and asks for money? I don't think the trial is going to go very well for her. And I think her lawyer, who's known for other practices, as Mr. Shannon pointed out, of suing black men, I don't think her lawyer is fully prepared for what's going to happen to her when she must take the witness stand because she filed the lawsuit. She can't decline to take the witness stand. She will be subpoenaed by us. If she declines, in my opinion, the lawsuit will be dismissed.
You're going to court. Is there a settlement here? Because every legal person I've seen online or in a story is like, this will settle. This will
not settle. We are going to sue her for defamation and many other causes of action that involve and potentially a criminal act is blackmail. And that is what happened here. And we have the evidence of blackmail and we will prove it in court. This will not settle. She is going to be proven to be a liar. My client's reputation, his family, he's been embarrassed, and he is going to be vindicated by a jury that will find her guilty of lying, and she will have to pay heavily for these false attacks on my client.
Let me ask you, I told you to hold that thought. I forget what it was about. Because you were speaking. Do you remember what it was? Is it producers? Do you remember? Because I wanted to talk to you about it. There's so many things here.
Sorry.
You guys remember, Nikki? Anybody? So you're not going to settle. Let's talk about ESPN.
Yes, please.
That's owned by the mouse. Clean cut, whatever. It's Mickey Mouse Kids. It's owned by Disney. Shannon Sharpe to be benched by ESPN's first. Disney, ABC, whatever. Disney owns ABC and ESPN. So Shannon Sharpe to be benched by ESPN's First Take amid, R word lawsuit, $10 million settlement offer. That's what I want to talk to you about. So first, you're concerned about ESPN. Does this mean permanently? Does this mean that they're backing away from him? Because they say pending a further investigation.
Well, first of all, the word benched is inaccurate. This is his choice. He elected to step aside for now to take care of his family and to deal with this terrible nightmare of a woman engaging in blackmail. And he wants to be vindicated. So he offered and elected to step aside at least up to the early pregame season for the NFL, and then he will return. So that was his choice, and ESPN respected that decision.
Okay, now this is a $10 million settlement offer. Wasn't it, in fact, is that correct, or was it a $20 million settlement?
Both.
Well, all I've been able to do as a lawyer is to confirm that in a conference that was supposed to be kept confidential because a professional mediator who's a retired judge engaged in the mediation, that those numbers were exchanged. And all I can say under the rules is that it was at least that number that he considered and might have paid in order to protect his privacy, his family, and his economic interests going forward. So I think that's one of the things that you said you wanted to come back to.
Yeah, that's what it was. But so
outrageous.
So why he's not guilty?
That he did this because he did something wrong. It's literally a reporter wrote that, well, he must have done something wrong if he was willing to.
Off rip, tea sippers. I believe my take on this tea is that Shannon Sharpe already knew that he can be, attached personally to this girl, intimately to this girl, factually to this girl. And what's going to come out is not cute. It's already starting off looking real terrible for Shannon Sharpe, and it ain't even been 2 weeks. Okay? So they can essentially just make Shannon Sharpe pay $50 million just for convenience. Just for the fact that he was even dealing with this fucking girl. Y'all already know the way the justice system, the fucking courts work. Why is Shannon Sharpe even standing here with little Miss Tootie Too? Okay? Little Miss Scooty Booty here. That's barely out of fucking high school. And look and listen at what the fuck he's doing with her. But this is a guy that we've raised up to be a spokesperson for ESPN. He made a $6 million salary on one show on YouTube. $6 million motherfucking dollars on the Cat Williams show he did on his YouTube channel. He made $6 million plus for the interview. Who makes $6 million an hour? Shannon Sharpe did. And now you're standing here with little Becky with the blonde hair talking about this. They may persecute Shannon Sharpe alone on that. Okay, so y'all already know how this goddamn country works with black people in the courtroom with white folks. He might get persecuted for that reason alone. What the fuck are you even doing with her, doing the things you're doing with her? It takes one juror to be like, I don't like that shit. I do not like that shit. Make him drop 50 million dimes on that bitch. I don't like that. And it's what it is. He should have protected himself better, period.
To pay that amount of money.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Explain this. Why, if he is indeed not guilty, why this? And I tried to explain this morning on TMZ is that either some folks call it a nuisance lawsuit or they want to protect their image or their job or their reputation or whatever. So, but I think people deserve to know why offer that if he is not guilty of these things.
It's a very valid question, but it's the conclusions that people.
He wanted to avoid. I'm still eating my sunflower seed. He wanted to avoid it ever coming to this point. He was hoping 10 million, because 10 million is a whole far stretch from 50,000 an ass cheek. That's a far stretch from 50,000 a cheek. He was hoping she would be like, yes, pay out and go away. However, her attorney is Busby, right? The lawyer that's also being sued by Jay-Z. That ain't even probably enough to touch what Jay-Z's suing Busby for. So Busby got to make that money up on some end. So they're pushing it. We gonna be there too for when it fall out, girl.
People are speculating about that I take strong exception to. If you go to anyone who's been blackmailed, blackmail is about taking advantage and leveraging embarrassment or something that is a private act that somebody doesn't want to be splashed all over the media. Sometimes the option, which is a painful option, when you're a subject of blackmail, that's no fun, is to pay and pray. That's what happens to people who are blackmailed. They have to make the tough choice rather than letting it go out into the public and take care of it the way I am right here in the public and the way Shannon Sharp bravely did himself on Instagram. But that's the definition
Especially
of black.
when you know they got you by the balls. Jay-Z didn't settle. Jay-Z said, I ain't never seen that white girl a day in my life, and I'm not paying you shit. Okay? Shannon Sharp, no, he'd have been with this girl.
Blackmail. The shock that he should say, you know, I'm willing to pay a lot of money to avoid embarrassment to my family. Why is that a shock? It has nothing to do with admitting wrongdoing. So you get my point, Don. I don't mind.
He's 50 some years old, and they're like, why? People are saying, what? Shannon Sharp, why are you messing with this young person? There's an age difference here. And
may I respond to that?
Yeah.
There is a certain mental lapse, imperfection in the human species. And I think it applies to the male gender more than to the female gender. But both genders have human weaknesses. One of the weaknesses does involve sexual activity. And he certainly has stepped up and expressed his regret at the distress he's caused his fans, his family, all of his colleagues at ESPN. He knows that he made some bad judgments. He's not a perfect human being. The fact he went on Instagram and owned this is very important to remember. But please, everybody, it's one thing to ask the question, why would you pay this amount of money, and not finish the answer by saying, excuse me, he was under blackmail. He wanted to protect his family, his privacy, his reputation, and embarrassment from all this horrible lies being put out of context, which is exactly what has happened here. Which
how is he doing?
So the answer is he's, to me, I've been through a lot of people in these challenges in public, embarrassing episodes in politics, business, and life. Don, you know that. I think this man is courageous and has shown the honesty and the courage to go on camera, look into the camera, and tell the truth. And when he finally asked me whether I thought he should do something like that in the middle of a lawsuit, most lawyers would say, of course not. You made something that will hurt you in the lawsuit. My answer was, Shannon, tell the truth. You can't lie into a camera. People see it very quickly. You've got to tell the truth. And what he said in that camera, I ask everybody, you ask yourself, when a jury's seeing him, when we file our lawsuit against her, or when you see this Instagram, is this man honest?
It was
and does this make sense?
It was a little cookie cutter for me. Like the Diddy came out and said, oh, I did so, I feel so. It was, cookie cutter for me. Yeah.
Sense that after she's charged him a lot of money, and it's always been consensual, and after this alleged forced event, she came back many times and let him in 4 different access points using her phone herself to let him in. And is this sensible that he would engage in non-consensual sex? The answer is, we are convinced a jury will say absolutely not. She is lying. That is
Lanny, I've got it. My other guest is waiting, and I don't want to be rude, but Lanny, just real quickly, what's next? Real quick, what happens next in this case?
Next is he'll be back on ESPN and stay on ESPN until the NFL season begins. He's dealing now with this crisis and people like me who need to help him in the courtroom. But next is the same Shannon Sharp is the same Shannon Sharp. He's a good guy. He's an honest person. He's a likable person. He's an authentic person. He's been subject to a shakedown scheme, and most people will add 2 + 2 and equal 4. And that's what a jury will do when this person is on the witness stand and tries to lie under oath. If she tells the truth, the case is over. And that's what will happen from here.
All right, that Shannon's side of the story from his attorney, Mr. Lanny Davis. Thank you, Lanny.
Thank you,
I
Don.
appreciate
Good
it.
to
Thank
see
you,
you
Lanny.
again.
I really do appreciate it. Okay, so Lanny Davis, and I said I've worked with Lanny, not worked with him, but he's been on many cases. I was trying to get him to mention it, but I mean, it's no secret. He was Bill Clinton's attorney, or one of them. So, you know. He's been involved in these particular situations, but I just want to tell everyone that is Shannon Sharp's side of the story. We've sent several messages. We've been in contact with the young lady's attorney, Tony Busby, to try to get him to come on to hear their side of the story. Remember, there's two sides to every story. And so let's see what happens. Let's see if Busby comes on to discuss. Okay, before I get to my next.
All right, Tea Sippers. Thank you guys so much. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours live on YouTube. These sunflower seeds are kind of scratching my throat. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I really want to thank all of y'all. Like, the support is crazy amazing. I'm so thankful that y'all love to sip tea with Tanisha Talks Teas. Like, thank y'all so much for welcoming me back on YouTube. It's been like 4 years since I've been back on YouTube, but I've been back on Facebook now for a little bit. So I've been uploading the stuff that I could, from Facebook to YouTube. Thank you guys for supporting so much. Like, it's amazing to just get welcomed in. So continue to, uplift, to elevate, uplift, soar. Okay, that's what the T stand for. Okay, to elevate and to soar. I don't really know if I have it all in me this moment to go over the lawsuit that Busby filed against Shannon Sharp. I'm thinking about coming back at tomorrow and going ahead and dropping that tea on y'all. And we sip the tea from the lawsuit. Today we heard from how they spun the narrative about Katt Williams potentially leading on to Shannon Sharp also have been involved with salacious things like what others in Hollywood, and like, nigga, come on now, I know what's really going on around here. I'm keeping my ear low to the ground, and I have heard for you to have been known to also deal in some of the Diddy Bop activities or whatever. They're spinning it in that way for Katt Williams. Not for nothing, I really haven't heard Katt Williams come out, but that was a cute little spin around of how Katt Williams' interview with Shannon Sharp ended up turning into Shannon Sharp now being alleged to have done some of the very things that Katt Williams alleged that other celebrities have done right on Shannon Sharp's platform. Okay, do y'all think that maybe it's because Shannon Sharp got paid $6 million plus for that interview, and I believe I only heard that he gave Katt Williams $1.5 million. I don't know if y'all know more than that, then let me know. But I heard through the streets of social media that Katt Williams only received like $1.5 million from the interview, while Shannon Sharp pocketed over $5 million. So plus, still getting views to this day. People are still watching the Katt Williams Shannon Sharp interview. So and that's potentially why Katt Williams, is spinning it, kind of dropping little tea, sips of tea everywhere around about Shannon Sharp. So I don't know, y'all, but y'all continue to drop those teacups in the chat. I really thank y'all so much for talking tea with me. I'm Tanisha. I'm gonna sign off now. Y'all don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. Bye. Hold on, let me take this off the screen.
Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay sipping.